All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to this session. We're here it's being presented by Andres, CTO of Aulas Neo.
Yes.
And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming here. And okay, we'll be talking about our e-commerce solution for OpenEDX. That is what we call a simple serverless approach. So what we're going to talk is not only about e-commerce, about how can we create simple solutions to complex problems. And this might be a good example for that. So first of all, let's talk about which were our main motivations for starting this project that we started 2 or 3 years ago already. So first of all, it was the business case. Because the traditional OpenEDX e-commerce is, and actually does a very good job in the business case of a MOOC. What's the business case of a MOOC? When you enroll in a course, you get the content for free, and then you pay for the certificate if you want. In our customers' cases, when they are interested in e-commerce, the business case is quite different. You have to pay for the content, and once you pay for the content, okay, you get the certificate. So the certificate is quite a right that the student gets once they pay and they get all the content and passes all the exams. So the first motivation was certainly the business case. Second big and important motivation is support for more payment gateways, especially payment gateways based in South America, in Africa, in Asia, where there are more regulations, providers are more complicated to approach, it's complicated to work with them to create a new a new payment system that you have to develop. So it's very complicated, regulations are complicated, central banks are complicated, so and actually, the existing e-commerce only supported 2 or 3 of the mainstream payment gateways that were not available during integration. Another interesting case is bank transfers, because payment gateways usually add an additional charge for their process. And so for low-cost academies, some users prefer to make a direct bank transfer to the academy instead of using the credit card. The problem that it brings is that bank transfer cannot be automated. So you cannot build an API, and the banks doesn't offer an API so that you can connect and check if the payment was already actually made or not. Another very important point is multi-currency and multi-payment gateways, and the possibility to choose which payment gateway works for each currency and each country. So some countries accept some currencies and only some payment gateways, and including bank transfer. So that makes a complex mix that we had to work out. Well, multi-tenancy is currently under debate, but in that moment it was very important for us because we had many OpenEDX academies in one single, many in one single installation. So multi-tenancy was important, and the e-commerce was not good with the theming and working with the URLs and so on. So another thing that we needed is more design flexibility, because some customers wanted some look and feel and have some fields and some features. So and not only the e-commerce, most of them also need to have an institutional web page integrated with e-commerce that's separated from the OpenEDX. So we needed more flexibility in that. Another feature that was commonly requested is course bundling. okay, you have one course for this price, another course for this price, but if you buy these two, you get a discount, or you can buy a pack of 3 courses out of a list of 10 possibilities, and you get a bundle for that. It's not really a program, but it's a kind of bundles of courses. Of course, again, discounts, coupons, special offers, timed offers, offer that start at some date, end at some other date, complex mixes of discounts and so on. Also, another feature asked was the possibility to sell other goods or services in the same e-commerce platform. Some providers also sell, for example, books or learning materials or whatever else they make, and they want to integrate their offering in order to leverage product selling, course selling. If you buy a product, you get the course. If you buy a course, you will want to buy a product, and so on. And last but not least, now we have, if you are familiar with this, and for those who are not, Depper is the deprecation process. It means all the features that will go to the trash in the next version. So at that moment, it was not a problem. If we had to start the project now, probably that would have gone to the first place, because there is not a fixed date yet when the current e-commerce is going to be deprecated, but the project is already there. So probably in the next few releases, we will not get, or at least the e-commerce will not be as we know. I mean the standard OpenEdX e-commerce, okay? So having all these motivations that we had to decide, okay, let's build something, I would like to share with you our guiding principles that we have for whichever project we make in Aulas Neo. But I think it's interesting for you too. First of all, we avoid as much as we can changes to the base code, to the base platform, to the edX platform. So if we can, we do not touch the base code. I will not go into detail what are all the problems that cause making changes in the platform, but believe me, there are many. Another, minimize code. We don't want to work hard in creating big applications. If we can, we do as much as possible with the as few lines as we can. Okay. Also, minimize infrastructure. Minimizing code, minimizing infrastructure means less dependencies, less upgrades, less operating system, less dependencies, or all the things that you know that you have to take care when you build a big and complex application. Decouple systems as much as we can. So if we can build something in somewhere else that we can connect, then it is much better than trying to integrate a complex solution into a platform like OpenEdX. And this is our strategy of building system, is trying to leverage our cloud provider offering. It means if they have already solved the problem and they can offer it as a system, okay, we prefer to use that. Databases, connections, there are many. I will show you which one we are using. We prefer that because they take care of the upgrades, they take care of the scalability, they take care of redundancy. We just rely on them that the service will be up and running. We don't care about any problem, we just use it, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the architecture and how it works. So on one side, this side, we have the OpenEdX instances, okay? On the other side, we have the marketing site that we are using WordPress with WooCommerce, but certainly you can use your own CMS or your own development. It's up to you. It's not only mandatory to use these technologies. So yesterday I was talking with Seth, the guy who's working in an e-commerce, the e-commerce project into you. And we say, okay, what is e-commerce about? The shopping cart part is only about, okay, you pay or you did not pay for the course, and that's it. You see the course and you click, okay, pay, you put the credit card number, and that's it, or you buy or you don't buy, okay. And on the LMS side, it is all about enrollment. You're enrolled or you're not enrolled. There are not many more options. So why is e-commerce so complicated and so difficult to implement if it is only pay, no pay, enroll or not enrolled? Why is it so complicated? Well, because in the middle, we have to take care of the business logic. That sometimes is dependent on the country, on the currency, on regulations, on the end customer, how they want to make business. So in the middle, what is our strategy? We're using an API gateway, okay? Because we work with Amazon, we are using AWS services. We are using an Amazon service that is called API Gateway, but certainly you can do it in many other ways. For sure, other cloud providers have similar services. Basically, what an API Gateway has, it exposes an URL, so you send a request to that URL, and it implements a logic, and then does something with the information that you receive from this call, okay? And if you don't want to use a service, you can also develop something very easily. A REST application in Linux is very, very easy. So just to receive a requests and do something with that, okay? In Amazon, the code is placed in something that they call a Lambda function, but it's basically a Python function, Python or Node or whatever you want to do the code. Basically, what happens when the user pays for a course, we're using a webhook. What they do is when the payment is confirmed, WordPress and WooCommerce will call an URL with a payload that has the information of what the user bought there in the shopping cart, and we'll send it to the URL of the API gateway, okay? Then the function, the code will take that payload, will do some logic, and basically what we want to do is basically enroll the user that bought the course into the course that the user bought, okay? And once if the REST API call is successful, the same gateway, the same call will send another message back to the CMS, to the WordPress or the e-commerce site, just to confirm that the order was completed and that you can change the status, only to change the status from processing or payment to completed, okay? So that's the most basic workflow that we have for e-commerce. How to configure, very, very simple, without any modification. You go to the WooCommerce tab here in advanced settings, you go to webhooks, and you have to set up both order created and order updated, because both events may happen. And you configure the URL that you got when you created the API gateway. So that's all you have to do. Nothing else here about webhooks. And then in order to the call to update the status, you have to enable REST API in WooCommerce. But basically, it's just add a key, and it will bring you a key and the secret and the password that you have to put in the other system. But there's nothing more complicated. There is no coding, no complicated configuration here. You know, in the e-commerce site, one course is one product. So when you create a product in WooCommerce, in WordPress, you go to the inventory part of the product, and you have to set the SKU that I always forget what SKU means. The cell key unit or something like that. But it's basically the product code. And in the product code, we just set the course ID sampling. That's all that we need to know. Okay? On the LMS, it's in the part of the OAuth authentication that you have to create keys you have to create a user and the client key and secret. It's only for the REST API to work. It's with all the REST, the same for any REST API. So let's go into the detail of the workflow. First, we have the customer buying a course, paying it, and getting the new order webhook into the API. It will get, this code will get, with this call, within this call, you will get a payload. That is all the structure of data. It's bigger. I remove some parts because it's large, but it is standard. This comes from WordPress and WooCommerce. I didn't program that. And here you have all the detail of the order that the customer placed. So there's an ID, there's a status of the order, a currency, dates and time when this all happened, the list price, total price, discount price, all the pricing information. And then you get the data of the person who purchased the course, okay, name and whatever they filled in the form, the email, that's important. You get the details about the payment method, if it was about credit card or which is the payment processor used there. And then you get line items, that is actually a list where you get, okay, some price and so on, and the famous SKU with what we have completed before, that is the course ID. Remember that a user can, in one order, purchase more than one course. So you will have to loop into this list and make sure that you cover all the courses that the user bought, okay? But what's the big important information that you get from here? Of course, the email of the user, the course ID that we need, and then, okay, in our case, we are concerned about the payment method because it changes the logic. But if you don't care, you just with the email and the course ID, you have what you need to make an enrollment. So the next part is how to enroll a user, okay? And here, this is a little piece of code that we created. It is public, actually. It's in GitHub in our organization. You can go there. That is a Python library that implements an OpenEDX REST API client. I have to thank Braden from OpenEDX that helped with part of the code. But the code that OpenEDX is using wasn't really suitable because as I wanted to use this library into an API manager, that code imported Django was more suitable for writing an OpenEDX plugin. So I needed a library that had the minimum quantity of dependencies and small libraries. So this OpenEDX REST API client is based only in the requests module. That is a standard Python module. It's a simplified version of OpenCraft's OpenEDX client. You can visit also if you want. It uses bearer authentication, very simple. And I have implemented only two functions. One to list get all the courses available in the platform, and one to change the enrollment. That is the most important one. But if you guys want to deep into it, contributions are welcome, and it would be great if we could have a library, Python library, that can implement all the APIs available by OpenEDX to do all the functions of the platform. But okay, So how to use this library? Well, it is very simple. You just import, and basically it is calling the change enrollment that will enroll the student. You provide the list of emails and the list of courses, and the function will just enroll all the courses, in all the students in the list into all the course IDs in the list. That's how it will work. Very easy. If you don't add anymore, it will enroll, but you can use the same function also to unenroll a user if you want. Okay, and you just call the function, and it will return. The return will indicate if the call was successful or not. If it's successful, well, you can consider that the student was enrolled. Okay. And the other part is informing back from the API to the WooCommerce that the order was completed. There is a public WooCommerce API. It's all open source. So it's very easy. Yeah. Yeah, but no. Yes, it's a bulk enrollment. Probably. Probably. I don't. Probably. Yeah. Yes, the APIs have to be enabled also. Yes, probably that. No. Okay, so that's very simple. I will show you a couple of advanced usages that implement a more complicated code there. So going back to the beginning, WordPress user buys a course, or we get the new order webhook. So now we are in the situation that the user is not paying by credit card, so I am not sure that this new order is actually paid, because I have no way to control that the money got into the bank account. So first thing that we do is store the order in a database, just to keep track that the order was placed. And what we do now is send an email to the Academy administration staff saying, okay, there's somebody with all the information. There is somebody with this name that paid so much money and wants to enroll in that course. Please check. And that person will have to check into the bank account that the money got in. And once it is in the email, it will have a confirmation link. When the user clicks on the confirmation link, that link will point to the same API gateway. We are using exactly the same endpoint here for everything to simplify, but the code here will detect that this comes from a payment confirmation. And then once it is the payment is confirmed, against the rest of the flow, the student gets enrolled, and the order gets updated. Okay. Another use case that we have to solve is that we have multiple academies in a single OpenEDX installation. So we needed one different marketing site for each. So no problem. All of them point to the same API endpoint. Okay. And the API knows to which instance to send the enroll API call. To that, we are using another service that's called Secrets Manager. It is an encrypted system where you can store all the credential ID and secrets ID, and also what is the URL of each of the endpoints. So when we get an order from a site, well, the code here will look for the source of this site, and here it will know to which OpenEDX installation will have to point the enrollment and which are the credentials and so on. Another important thing is to have a log and monitoring of what's going on. sometimes some order may get stuck in a strange state, or users may request refund, or special cases. So everything that happens in the function gets logged into another service that's CloudWatch, and also we get statistics of function calls and see what happens in there. And another important thing, I don't know if you heard about Panorama, is our analytics system. It's based on a data lake. It's in the cloud. And it's important also to get information and consolidate information about everything that happens. So the first source of information for sales is the database, where we get the not only the student email, but we get the address, the information about the prices, the discounts. So I can get financial information from there, and also collect and interconnect information coming from the instances, and also information from the marketing sites. So I can put everything together: sales information, enrollment, and what happens in the LMS, and what happens in the marketing side, the clicks and comments and posts and everything integrated into the single into a single platform. So what else now? What comes now from that? Moving forward, what things can we do? It would be great to improve that API client, or if you know of anybody else using another API client, it would be more than welcome to implement more functions that can be imported without Django dependencies or a lot of libraries behind, right? A simple OpenEDX REST API client. Oops. Well, other functions that are not implemented but can be easily implemented in the code. How, for example, managing cancellations and refunds, dynamic product configuration. For example, one thing that's interesting, that there are courses with a limited number of students allowed. So it would be great if the e-commerce could get feedback about how many enrollments are in place, and put when the course is full, put it in a block status or something like that. Selling upgrades, because what we are selling is only enrollments, but it could be great also to implement an upgrade. For example, okay, you get the first part of the course for free, but you can buy an upgrade to the verified track and implement it in the same way that we are doing. Programs with complex course interdependencies. I've seen the Richie, is another CMS that implements things like that, because it is not only, we've done with WooCommerce and WordPress, but it can be done with another complex that could implement complex interrelationships among courses. For example, you can enroll in course number 3 only if you approve 1 and 2, and then to course 4, you have to get a number of credits or whatever. So basically, managing the REST API, you can control enrollments and so on. Subscription, like periodic payment, and managing enrollments by periodic payment. If you didn't pay this month, you get enrolled from the course, and things like that. But basically, the most interesting thing to do would be to develop a framework around OpenEDX platform that we can use to easily connect any e-commerce application to any OpenEDX installation, and then we implement there our own business logic that can vary from country to country, from customer to customer, so on. So a few key takeaways. Well, first of all, there may be many community use cases that are not may not be the same that former edX or 2U are using. Maybe the MOOC is not the same in this case. So take into the consideration that can be many other use cases in the community. Another key takeaway for me is, consider what is the impact of the deprecation process. Because we and our customers that are using a feature receive a big impact when we know that the feature that we are using will be deprecated in the next releases. So, and it will create a big issue for us because it means additional effort and so on. So, something to consider, please. Well, this is kind of an architectural decision. Should the Open edX platform deliver an all one size fits all needs e-commerce huge application, or should the should the Open edX platform only deliver the endpoints, APIs, or whatever we call it, to mechanisms to connect, and then we develop or contract or program third-party applications that can easily connect. Well, I think that the main key takeaway is that complex problems may have simple solutions. We are open to share with you more details about that. I know it might be, it might sound overwhelming, but believe me, there are very few lines of code there. There are many services involved, but the services are very easy to install, to create. It's just a few clicks away. You just have to know how to configure a couple of things, and the logic is pretty simple. The logic behind the code. So that's my message for you, and I'm open to questions. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you for the interesting talk. So I'm curious in how do you handle the integration of the user experience between these two entities, right? So you have a catalog and everything on a WordPress side that's running WooCommerce, and you have edX, right? So, for example, how do you handle viewing your invoices, you know, all sorts of stuff? Because you're using email, right, to map it. So if email is like a open field just to enter it, right, on the WooCommerce side, how do I access my previous invoices, whatnot, like the entire UX integration?
Okay, we are doing currently we are doing a very simple installation of that. So at the moment you will not be able to see your previous history, but there is some. It is possible to do. We are planning to do in the next months. That is to use the user the login, the WordPress login, and use Open edX as the identity provider. So when you log in, you will be logged in with the user that you will come to use in the Open edX, and then you will be able to have your order history and so on. And about the experience, it's all about theming, because each customer has their branding, colors, and so on, and we design the WordPress, the theming in exactly the same fashion that we do. So it is almost seamless for. Yes, WordPress is the marketing side. Yes, it could be more scalable. We are not using discovery, for example. It could be, but that will require probably developing a WordPress plugin that connects to discovery and automatically creates products. For small organizations, it's okay to create manually the courses as products and create the courses in the LMS. But certainly there's a lot of things to do.